one talking point. This is special edition on Nigeria at 63. I beg your pardon. It's at the point we bring to you Nigeria's age mates, so to speak. They share the same umbilical cord. Thank God I'm not Nigeria's obdino. Nigeria. Nigeria. Okay. Well, that's the only one we have. And this man can't escape. He was born on the same day, October 1st, 1960. He's a renowned, international journalist. I've known him all my years in journalism. I don't know, it's just only 63. I thought it was like 70 or thereabout. He has edited many national publications in Nigeria. He's been writing for the New York Times, the behemoth of journalism, New York Times, since 1992. That's about 30 years. He has edited a number of newspapers, magazines. He's worked in Newswatch, Platform, Times Week. He's edited Post Express, National Interest, Business Times. If I read his profile, it would take at least 25 minutes of the entire program. Then he was former special advisor, media and publicity to Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole between 2009 and 2012. We are glad to have in our midst. They named him. What the name is, what is behind now, or what is popularly known as now today. Anthony Oluwatoyin Iyare. We all call him Tony Iyare. Good morning, Tony.
Yes,
I'm happy to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, we'll be discussing. The topic today is beyond sharing a day with Nigeria, my joy, frustrations, and expectations. Which one will you prefer to start with, Tony?
Well, I think I prefer to start with the good. That's joy.
Okay. Let's hear the goodies that you have of Nigeria. So, some of us.
The joy is even being alive at all. We must thank the Almighty God.
Yes.
In spite of all that happened today, Nigeria is still standing.
No, yes.
We've gone through civil war. We've through a lot of turmoil. We've gone through a lot of economic crisis, and the country is still standing, almost like an elephant.
Yeah.
So when we look at these issues, we must always look at the bad and the ugly. And we're also admonished that each time we talk to ourselves, we need to thankful so many things, because sometimes very negative. We think in the negative, but we must also be thankful for all the positive things that are. This is 3 years. Even me that is standing, I need to give thanks to the Almighty God for being alive. For 63 years. We have to give thanks to the Almighty God that the country is still alive. Still at least a country, a notable country in the community 3 years after. So that is very important. And then if you look at also some positives, in some quantity, for instance, we need to say in terms of quantity. How many radio stations did we have in 1960? Today, in Lagos alone, in fact, at the last count, when I was going to do a research, there were more than 60 radio stations in Lagos alone.
Wow.
60.
Wow.
We are not talking about television stations, and then we are not even talking about all around the country. Almost everywhere is a ballooning of radio stations. Of course, when you say I'm talking about the number, because when you then begin to talk about issues of quality, you then begin to ask yourself, how effective are those radio stations? What is the quality of the staff? And several other things like that. And what also is the of those radio stations. You know, that's just an area. There are several other areas we can talk about. Look at education. If you take how many universities were there in 1960? Today, public universities alone, many. There's a ballooning of public universities almost everywhere. Not to talk of private universities, so which has also opened doors, you know, to higher education for our citizens. So there are different areas in which is it health. How many teaching hospitals did we have? You know, like today, you can check. So we have to give thanks to the Almighty God that as much as we have crisis, economic crisis, and in fact even political crisis, we must also give thanks to the fact that in some areas we have made significant gains. But just like I said, we can in fact interrogate the level of those gains, the impact of those gains, and then the quality of those gains.
Okay.
You know, but it shouldn't be too dismissive that we've really not done anything. But then if you then begin to look at maybe bad and the ugly, I have a book, a recent book written by Professor Akintunde-Johnson. It's called Nigeria, a Resource-Rich Economy in Iyare. If you read that book, in fact, you want to cry for a beloved country. You know, because for instance, it tries to compare what Nigeria was in 1960 against countries like Singapore, Malaysia, China, and Indonesia. In terms of GDP per capita, Nigeria's GDP per capita in the First Republic, which is 1960 and thereafter, was higher than all these countries. You know, today Singapore alone, in fact, the GDP per capita in Singapore is almost about 130,000. I don't want to talk about what is behind it. You know, but that's one of the richest countries in the world today. Malaysia's GDP per capita is definitely higher than Nigeria. But of course, sometimes people say, look, if you say GDP per capita, it's usually against the level of production divided by the population and all that. That sometimes it may not give an approximate value about the level of living. But it's also not particularly true. I have compared Nigeria, for instance, with Malaysia. Nigeria's GDP per capita is projected by the end 2023 to be just 2,000, in fact less than 2,600. Then compared to Malaysia's GDP in 1960 was $300. Today it's about $4,500. So you can then say that perhaps the quality of life in those countries is definitely higher than that in Nigeria. But in Singapore, you don't want to say because you go there, it's tremendous in terms of development. Is it in terms of building? Is it in terms of highway? They have one of the best airports in the world. In fact, which has, evinces the fact that, people just think that airports are just airports. No, they are tourist destinations. You go to Singapore and then you begin to see an airport that is a tourist destination.
Well,
tourism, for instance.
Tony, you already moved.
Let me at least before you call.
I'm not cutting you. I want to take a commercial break because we need to pay some bills.
Okay.
And since you have already moved into frustration, so I guess you are coasting along all the way. But we'll take a short break. We'll come back to you. Nobody is shutting you off. You are the birthday boy.
Prestige Nigeria Education Festival and Awards.
Creating a pathway for generations to trail.
Join us on October 7th at the Nigeria Teacher Summit
as we celebrate educators, shaping young minds and nurturing future leaders.
2,000 teachers will be honored with Prestige Teachers Award.
The Prestige Teacher of the Year wins 1 million naira.
Saturday, November
The
4th.
Battle of Brains competition, where primary and secondary school scholars will compete in mathematics, English, tech innovation, and art creativity.
Tuesday, November 14th.
It's tertiary institutions and co-disciplinary Nexus Quizzathon, TIIQ.
Thursday, November 16th.
The Nigeria Education Hall of Fame.
Friday, November 17th.
The Nigeria Education Leadership Conference.
November
Is
18th.
the time to celebrate schools, individuals, organizations, and brands championing the growth of education in
For
Nigeria.
more info, sponsorship, and participation, visit awards.prestigenigeria.com or call 080-205-11863.
Prestige Nigeria Education Award, celebrating excellence in education.
Supported by Talk Radio.
Taking you to the top to stay. Top Radio 90.9.
This is the Vintage Talkshow with Femi Akintunde-Johnson, the Page.
We are still here. And Tony is still on the microphone. Yes, Tony.
Yes.
You were saying.
Yes, thank you very much. So I was saying that in terms of GDP per capita, we have really not done well. You know, the indices are not very favorable, and of course you can even see you can glean it from the quality of life that is being lived by the average Nigerian. We are doing palliatives, but in what way is the palliatives going down to the people, even the quality of palliatives? And in fact, some people have argued that if you take the amount of money, the huge amount of money that we're using for palliative and set up industry, we may be employing far more people. And in terms of the trickling down effect, it may be higher than what we're doing. Because we have no data about the palliative. We don't know who is getting it. And just like the Buhari administration did, we are also, the Tinubu administration is also following the same footsteps. I think that some of the areas in which this government needs to focus on are one, tourism. What we can earn from tourism. You'll be surprised. There are some areas in which you look at parks. How many parks do we have? For instance, some countries boast of 2-3 parks, like South Africa. Nigeria has 33 major parks. I'm talking about animal parks. Look, take Jebu East there. Just Jebu East there. There is almost forest. Almost forest resources. The forest resources that we have is tremendous. But in almost forest there are elephants. They're just roaming away. I heard that more than 100 of them have eloped into one of the villages. And they eloped into one of the villages and are causing mayhem there. Wow. So we need political will to develop what we have. We don't need to go anywhere. We have always had it. We've had forest resources. We have parks. We have wetlands. Many people do not know that Nigeria has the biggest wetlands now. And you know what we do in wetlands? All the beds of the world. That's where they come to do conferences. There are regular conferences and so on. That's where all the beds in the world come back. Nigeria has that wetland, where that happens. Some of the places we go to for tourism, across the world, what do they have? Some of us go to Paris. What do we go to see in Paris? The Eiffel Tower, the Mia Coupling Biome, by Engineer Eiffel. That's what we go to see in Paris. In some of these countries you go to, when you look at those things, you begin to ask yourself, what really is this? Meanwhile, Nigeria is awash with all sorts of things. Is it waterfalls? Is it forest resources? Is it parks? So the government needs to redevelop its tourism potential and focusing on these things. We earn a lot of money.
Okay.
Allied to this is that the government needs to concentrate a lot of development on railways, because the Buhari government started with the standard gauge, finally completed the central railway between Warri and Itakwe, which was started at 3 years. So in 1987, it was completed after that 3 years. That's for the Guinness Book of Records. It's a 296-kilometer railway in 3 years.
Amazing.
Our African neighbors, I don't want to go abroad. Our African neighbors, take Ethiopia, take Kenya. Ethiopia did Addis to Djibouti. Ethiopia is very long, so it has to go through Djibouti, which is the river that will be able to get to the sea, to the port. Now, that's almost about 736 kilometers. That was done in a space of 4 years. Kenya, Nairobi to Mombasa, that's almost about 686 kilometers or so. It was done in a space of 4-5 years. So the African standard is that people do longer kilometers between 4 and 5 years. But in Nigeria, the Central Railway, which was just 96 kilometers for 3 years, is such a shame. So we have to ensure that we're able to at least complete them. Because the way they are now, it's called in geography Oxbow links, because they are not connected. You need to connect the Takwe to Abuja, for instance, for it to make sense. You need to connect the standard gauge you have done from Lagos to Ibadan, to Abuja, to make sense. And then you also need to build, importantly, if we are thinking about tapping our tourism resources, the Lagos-Calabar railway that has been on the drawing board for several years. In fact, I've argued that you can take it, this is going to be taken to Hudu. You can take it to Mambila. You can take it from there to Yankari. You can then take it back from there. So in such a way that all the tourism spots and tourist resources in Nigeria will have been covered. You can have somebody who does it or moves around by railway to all these places. So we're not reinventing the wheel in Nigeria. The wheel has always been there. In different areas of the economy, we have made significant progress in the past. Where I live here, the old Western Regional Government, in the old estates you see from Ogba up to Agege to Abulegba and so on, all those estates were farmland. Dairy farm, poultry farm, hickory farm, and so many others. Have the program for roads, for house, and so on. Even my place in Ekuma there, there's a big farmland, that was started by the old Western Regional Government. But what has happened to them today? A lot of those farmlands have been turned to housing estates, and we have not developed alternative, farmland to be able to make up for what we have taken away. That's why food is expensive. So many things are expensive. Cost of living is ballooning. We just must bring it down.
Okay.
For people to live.
Okay. You are very well traveled. You've gone across many continents and many states of the Federation. Now, I read something you wrote 2 years ago on your 61st birthday, and I want you to reflect on it. As I celebrate my 61st birthday today, and exclusively thank the Almighty God for adding another year to my life, I crave for a more harmonious country where our diversity is turned to strength. You know, that's why I'm a great fan of the railway project across the country. I look forward to the groundbreaking ceremony of the Lagos-Calabar Railway by Buhari that will not only open a novel east-west railway in the country, but offer a huge tourism potential with the link to Obudu Cattle Ranch. Are you satisfied? 2 years after?
Yes, I'm not. Why I'm not satisfied is that we have still not seen the groundbreaking ceremony. Because Buhari promised us.
Oh my!
And you know, in the end, all we saw was the Kano to Maradi railway, which is not important. Is important. It's important that we must have the entire country with railway, but we must also draw our priorities. In fact, if he had done Calabar Railway, Lagos Calabar Railway, it would have taken so much away. One, so much away from traffic. Because if you check the huge traffic, go and check the Lagos-Ibadan Road Expressway. Most of the traffic diverts to Benin, Shagamu. That's why it is, I think, 10 lanes from Lagos up to Shagamu, and then from there to Ibadan is reduced to 6 lanes because the traffic goes there to the east, and then you have these huge trucks, trailers, and so on taking things to the east. Every industrial economy in the world is serviced by railway. Go and check. So we need to move a lot of our goods via railway, and then our passengers, our people who are commuting, they also need to move by railway because it's cheaper to move by railway. That's the cheapest mode of transportation in the world. If we continue these trailer trucks, taking goods to the east and so on, before you know it, no matter what investment we put on our roads, the roads will be in shreds in a few years because of the weight on the roads. So we need to build the Lagos-Calabar Railway. One, for tourism. Two, to take the weight off our roads. Benin, Benin, Onitsha, even the east-west roads, we need to take that weight away from those roads so that commuting can be better. Now, we all still need to have a better experience of the countryside. One of the things, once I get outside Nigeria, I don't go by road. I love traveling a lot by railway. Because if you want to see the rich countryside, you go by railway. And Nigeria does have a very rich countryside.
Right.
So we need to develop that Lagos-Calabar Railway. Whatever it will cost. I've argued, for instance, if we have diaspora fund, diaspora fund is about 24 billion. Was it last year or so? Now, this is official. That's official projection. Because many of us, you know that when we travel, people will give us, give to Mr. A, give to Mr. B. All that is not recorded. So that if you do a recalculation of that diaspora fund and you take into account all those unofficial sources, you may be talking about more than 40 billion that comes in diaspora fund. why don't we have an engagement with the people in diaspora and say, look, come and help build Lagos Calabar railway, and then they buy bonds. They buy bonds. The cost is projected at about $11 billion. Now, if they buy bonds, you can start because you don't need the 11.5 whatever billion dollars in one day. You don't need it even in 1 year. In the first year, perhaps maybe you made me just $5 billion. Why don't you sell the bond to them so that they become owners of that railway? You build it, then the following year you sell another bond to them. Then so we can effectively build the Lagos Calabar railway in 4 years if we're serious.
Thank you, Tony.
1,400 kilometers.
Thank you, Tony.
You know?
Thank you, Tony.
Yes.
You can expect it from the veteran editor and traveler. I'm afraid we have run out of time. We're so happy to have you. October 1st, baby. I think that's our first on the show. Thank you so much, Tony Iyare, for joining us this morning. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And when we need some more statistics, we know where to come. Thank you.
No problem.
Have a good weekend. Okay.
Yes, and you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was Tony Iyare, telling us about his joy, frustrations, and expectations of sharing a birthday with Nigeria at 63. Mr. T, we need to say bye.